Hey guys, yeah, sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure everything was right here as I also adjust my mic. And of course, as the script says, Happy Memorial Day is Memorial Day 2020. And for some of you out there, it's actually one of the days you've been looking forward to ever since, certain restrictions have been lifted due to the fact that now you can go out and actually party. Um, or get together in some way with a few things here and there. Now, uh, with that said, though, of course, I'm here to do this live stream, as you can see, and it is something I want to talk about because today, this morning, I just watched Dr. Wolf's recent video he just put up, where he has been following and reviewing each of the 6 episodes of the, as I call it, the mid-epilogue series, Friendship is Forever. And in case you guys don't know what that is, Friendship is Forever is a basically, like I said, it's a series that takes place in between the aftermath of the ending of the end, part 2, after they've saved Equestria and a Discord and the Royal Sisters turned the villainous trio into stone. It takes place in between that aftermath and the last problem, mostly the coronation that we see in the flashback of the last problem, because one of the things that we see in the flashback of the last problem is Starlight has this book. She and Spike present this book to Twilight after the end of her coronation, after she's met up with everybody. So, and we kind of get an idea that she was working on something, because I think she tries to present it to her several times, and one of the last times she tries to present it to her before the coronation, just as the rest of the main 7 is running out the door of the castle to get to the train station, to get to Camelot for the coronation. So, but yeah, that's basically where it takes place. It takes place in between both those scenarios. After the ending of the end. After that aftermath and the coronation. So, well, and I like. Here's the thing. I like what they did, and I'll talk about that in a moment. I like what they did, so it's really nice that they did that. Now I'll talk about that in a moment. But like I said, I've been following Dr. Wolf's reviews on him. Now, usually Dr. Wolf would wait until they came out here in America, but we don't know when that's going to be. So he's been watching them through places like PonyTube, and I'm sure various other sites, to kind of see what's in store, to kind of see what we got coming our way. And if we don't get it that way, we just get it this way. And others have seen them to the point that they've uploaded them at various areas as well, so that if they don't actually come out here in time, we can watch them right now, kind of get an idea. Because again, with what's going on, it's kind of crazy. Well, it's kind of unpredictable as to when they're going to happen, when it's going to happen. And yeah, it's one of those situations. But anyway, though, like I said, I wanted to come on here and talk about a few topics before I go and get myself ready for work today. Because yes, I do have to work. I have to work the whole week. It's going to be fun, mostly today. But the topics I'm going to talk about is more like a topical MLP video. These are the topics I'm going to talk about. One is, of course, like I mentioned, friendship is. The second is going to be on Josh Scorcher. Second, I should say, is going to be on Josh Scorcher's, aka Firebrand, basically it's going to be on his recent MLP music list video. We'll get into that. The third would be, it's going to be asking a question of, should the 2017 MLP movie be one of the movies returned to theaters at a discounted price when they reopen to families, fans, or something like that. Basically, the other thing, of course, the fourth one is a question I'm sure a lot of people have, and that is, why was shipping heavily implied, if not confirmed, in the finale, The Last Problem? That's been something, even after watching things like the Bronies Reacts, which you can see at AC Race Best channel, everybody's probably been wondering, okay, why did this happen suddenly? What's going on? And of course, I did my own reaction video, kind of like reply video on that a couple weeks ago during my, I think, what was it, my lunch hour? I think it was during my lunch hour. And then number 5, the final one, is what can we expect from MLP G5 when that occurs? These are all things I want to talk about and discuss, excuse me, as we go on. So with that said, as I'm just linking this, that said, let's talk about the first topic. Friendship is forever. Now, like I said, as I was getting into right at the start, Friendship is Forever is basically a 6-part miniseries. Or it's a 6-part miniseries. How do I put this? It's a 6-part clip show miniseries, is what it is. But as I look at it, it's a 6-part mini series. It's a 6-part clip show miniseries mid epilogue, if you will, or a 6-part clip show mid epilogue miniseries. Basically, like I say, taking place between the aftermath of the ending of the end and the coronation that we see in the flashback of the last of that we see in a flashback in Last Problem. And honestly, as I was getting into a little bit, I think it's a great idea that they did that, because it allowed, because here's the thing, obviously they know the fans are very curious about things. you know they know fans want to find out, okay, what is try like, I'm sure fans are wondering, okay, where did this book of memories come from, you know like where did the book of memories come from, kind of deal. And again, like I said, I'm sure some people want to know that, or at least were wondering that, like, okay, where did this book of memories come from suddenly? And usually with a lot of shows that kind of do something like that, they just ignore it. They don't follow up on it. I love the fact that the staff behind the show decided to follow up on it. I love the fact that, yes, they knew they were going to take a cliche trope in media, especially when you get towards the end of a show or something that is utilized to fill up time or be filler for an episodic spot in a series. You can kind of be looked at as a new episode because you don't have anything filmed yet, or you're still in the process of animating. I like the fact that they took that creative. I like the fact that they did take that. What did I call it? That kind of creative trope, or that kind of I wouldn't say original trope or something like that. But basically, take the cliche. That's what I was looking. That was the word I used. Sorry, it's early. It's about 6:22 in the morning, so I do apologize. But yeah, I like the fact that they took what people would look like as a cliche trope in animation, or even with animated series or live action series, where pretty much you want to present a new episode, but the new episode is more of a clip show because you don't have a truly realized or truly finalized episode made and complete yet. You know, I like the fact that they took this cliche trope and instead of just basically, um, just doing maybe a one-off deal where we see like a montage of Starlight and Spike getting memories from all the characters they meet up with. I like the fact that they dedicated an episode to each of the characters they encountered. I liked it. I really did. Um, and again, yes, it's a cliche trope used in media to kind of serve as a filler and sort of be like a hybrid filler slash new episode, which, technically it is, but it's actually just the only newness is like the new footage you're getting and everything else is just like, archived. I like the fact that they did that, but I like the fact that, as I said, instead of doing a quick montage, 1 hour deal, 30-minute deal, and just be done with it, or just even ignore it and act like, okay, no one's going to ask about the book anyway. I like the fact that they basically dedicated they took their time, they came up with new animations to go along with the arc, to go along with the footage of the past seasons. I love the fact that they did that. And what I really liked, and I know Dr. Wolf appreciated it, I know anybody else that watched it appreciated it. I love the fact that they dedicated each episode to each member of the main group. It wasn't like, okay, it wasn't like I said, it wasn't like everybody in a montage, that's it. No, it was one episode to one character, another episode to another character, so on till we got to the end. And I like it. I like how they dedicated the episode. Like the first one they dedicated to was Rarity and her time with Twilight and her memories of Twilight and how Twilight influenced her and she influenced Twilight and even Spike. And yes, I even like the fact, despite how people might feel about it, I like that they threw a little bit of the asperity in there when basically Twilight brings up Rarity's relationship with Spike and how Rarity kind of acknowledges that even though it's changed, Spike's very, very special to her, and that kind of gives people. And here's the thing about that one line. I'm going to mention that right now. The only reason I'm going to let me put it this way. Let me get some coffee first. Okay. Now, the only reason, in my opinion, that how do I put this? The only reason that line was said was to emphasize for Rarity how special her relationship with Spike is. Like, how close they are to each other as friends, best friends, and I like Spike's reaction. Spike, of course, it's that typical. And I love Starlight's reaction. She kind of sees this, and because Spike's holding the book, and Starlight sees it, she kind of puts like an back to it. Like I said, I like the fact that they dedicate all the episodes, each episode individually to one of the main characters. And like I said, I love they started with Twilight and how they both reminisce and influence the other. And I like how Twilight brings up Rarity. As I was saying, Twilight brought up Rarity's relationship with Spike. I love that because because it's true. Rarity has been a huge influence on Spike, and in a sense, he's been a huge influence on her. And as I was saying before, I was trying to think about what I was going to say. And like I said, it's early, so that's why it's a little hard for me to think right now because I'm still waking up. And my finger just hit the mic there. I do apologize. I like how Rarity acknowledges that, yes, even though her relationship with Spike has changed, he still remains very, very special to her. And like I said, Spike's reaction kind of, in the eyes of a lot of fans, kind of tells the whole story because this here kind of gives fans sort of the interpretation that perhaps there is something now more than just friendship between the two. I mean, the fact that Rarity mentions that the relationship has changed and Spike is still very, very special to her, that will, despite how you look at it, will get a lot of people talking. It will get people being like, okay, is she implying that her and Spike are together? What's the deal? I don't get it. And it's understandable to feel that way. It is understandable to feel that way because, you know, excuse me, you don't know what to think. No, 'cause, and I understand some people will come up, some fans will come up and say, well, it doesn't really mean nothing. She's just saying that, because some fans honestly will come out and they will say, she's just saying, she's not saying anything that's indicating romance and all that. She's just saying that her relationship with Spike has changed over the years to where it's still very special to her, despite certain changes, like him going to want to do other things instead of just go gem hunting and stuff like that, which is kind of true. It is kind of true. In a way, it is kind of true. And like I said, I like that. I really do. I really like that. Um, that she does that. I really like that. It kind of gives a little bit of that vibe of you can interpret it any way you want. A lot of fans that support Sparity, like I do, they kind of look at it like, yeah, she's like, basically it's confirmation that, yeah, they're more than just friends now. There's something, I mean, for her to basically say that her relationship with Spike is very, very special, despite it changing over the years, to a lot of fans indicates that there's something more than just friendship between the two. And Spike's reaction afterwards, being that classic Spike crushing on Rarity reaction with the hearts and everything, is, and him blushing and everything, it it kind of gives, depending on how you look at it, it gives you a different vibe. It gives you a different point of view, maybe. And again, a lot of fans will say, there are a lot of fans that will say that it's not really saying much, that it's just an indicate that the line basically indicates that the friendship is a lot closer than it used to be, and it's more special. It means a lot more to Rarity than we can imagine. It doesn't mean anything more than that. While others will interpret it as, well, the way she said it and the way Spike reacted to it kind of sends a different message. So, but anyway, kind of putting Sparity aside for a second, and we'll get back to that later on. I like the fact that they getting back to the episodes themselves, I like the fact that they dedicated it to each of the characters. I like that, they did Pinkie Pies, and they did it in a Pinkie Pie typical way, to where basically, Pinkie Pie is so occupied with trying to distract, Twilight, as well as hide Spike and Starlight from her, or at least try to come up with some kind of excuse why they're in the same vicinity, the same area. That what I like about it is the way it ends, because you have Twilight and Pinkie reminiscing, but the catch at the end, and this is totally Pinkie Pie, and it's totally in line with Pinkie Pie, is while they're reminiscing and Pinkie Pie is trying her best to distract Twilight, having her eat sweets, cake, whatever. I love that during the process we see, as the episode ends, Pinkie lifts up the bottom of lifts up the uh, the uh, the the cart skirt, if you will. Yeah, that's what it is. I think that's what they call it. And she lifts up the cart skirt, which Spike and Starlight were hiding under, and she notices that, oops, they're asleep, because she's thinking, okay, my job's done. okay, the job's done, the deed's done. We got everything we need for the memory book. She lifts up and she's like, or not. And she notices Starlight and Spike are like this. And Starlight suddenly just wakes up when she hears Pinky go like, or not. And when Starlight wakes up, she's like, oh my God, Spike, wake up. We didn't get no memories. We didn't get no memories, but the way it ends is they end up getting memories because Pinky, being Pinky, is like, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of that. She gets the book, starts all the memories she just went over with Twilight, right? And with Starlight putting her head on top of, putting her chin on top of Spike, and both of them falling back to sleep. Very, very, very cool. Then you get the one with Rainbow Dash, which, well, not Rainbow Dash. The next one was Fluttershy, and that one was kind of, it was kind of weird, kind of unique in its own way, because what it was Fluttershy, it seemed to be having problems with her animals, because what she was doing when Twilight arrives, because she asked Twilight for some help, is she's getting the animals to rehearse for the coronation. And there's problems, and there seems to be some problems and all that. And this allows both Fluttershy and Twilight to kind of reminisce of moments where they've both had problems. They both have to overcome certain things and, do this and that and kind of influence each other, or individually overcome this or that. And it isn't until the end, after Twilight leaves, that the animals, I think Angel comes up to her, gives her a signal, said, yes, Angel, she's gone. On, and she looks at all the animals saying, yeah, you guys did a good job too. And then here you hear Spike and Starlight's voices coming from somewhere, and you notice them coming out of the bushes. You notice them coming out of the bushes, and basically what we had been seeing the whole time was just another uh, way for Starlight and Spike to get the memories for the memory book, without Twilight knowing that they were there. So that was kind of cool. Um, that was kind of a unique way. Really, I mean, even Dr. Wolf is who's a big Fluttershy fan himself. Even Dr. Wolf was like, he didn't even see it coming until the end. It's like he knew it was a memory episode. He knew it was part of the plan to get the memories for the book, but he didn't see it coming the way it did. Now, the episode that followed that was Rainbow Dash, and that was a unique one because now I haven't seen all. Now I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen the episodes. I'm just going by what Dr. Wolf and others have said. I'm gonna get the episodes and put them on the DVD eventually. But again, I'm just going by what he said, and what others said. And I love the fact that Rainbow tries to play off that she's not a big fan of the spa. It's not her thing. But the moment they all enter the spa, and you have two spa ponies approach her, you have the two spa mares approach her. That's basically when the secret is out on Rainbow, that yeah, she likes the spa, but she tries to keep it low key. I mean, there's even a clip somewhere that says Rainbow's secret is revealed. But I like the fact that, from what I understand, basically Starlight and Spike are like, that's cool. We pretty much figured it out anyway. Like, they kind of saw through Rainbow charade. Hey, like, yeah, we kind of knew you were a fan, or we kind of knew you liked the spa, so it's not a big deal. No big deal. So yeah, obviously it just shows that Rainbow's not so can hide secrets very easily, if you know what I mean, especially her own. But anyway, like I said, we get Rainbow, and they got great moments there. There's even a moment where Rainbow tries to get some more memories out of her while she's in the spa pool with Twilight, and Twilight walks off and says she's going to try to spend more time on her own, just to get relaxed, get ready for it. And you have Starlight and Spike show up, um, but show up afterwards because they got these little breathing tubes or straws that they use, and they pop up. And one thing people did like about them coming out of the water the way they did was Starlight having a wet mane. So I guess the wet look is in, especially with the main 6 or main 8. But like I said, they kind of tell her, here, you still got to get a few more memories to complete your chapter of the memory book. And Rainbow's like, and just goes and submerges herself underwater, and you see these little bubbles pop up. But the ending's kind of decent because, they talk about, because unbeknownst to Twilight, it's Rainbow that's giving her the massage. And once, she starts hearing the character that's massaging her tear up, and it's Rainbow, it's the first time that we see Rainbow in a spa pony outfit. And Dr. Wolf touched upon that. He said it was actually kind of neat to see Rainbow wearing a spa outfit outside of what she usually would wear. So we got that. And then, of course, last week we got Applejack. And what was kind of funny about that, it was mostly Starlight trying to get the memories while Spike was trying to help out in his own way. Basically, the long short of it is they weren't too sure. Applejack being mostly an honest character with a few dishonest moments here and there. They weren't too sure whether or not she could actually keep the secret from Twilight because she's always truthful with her. So Spike comes up with an idea that, okay, Starlight, you take the book, you gotta hide somewhere. I'll come back with Twilight, and I'll wait here till Twilight shows up, and then try to help out in that way. Basically, try to help out by not having Applejack kind of be totally truthful. Like, basically, the plot of it is they're not sure if she can, keep it low key that they're there. So, there's that. Yeah, and it's actually kind of funny because even, you could see Applejack getting a little fed up with Spike. And when Spike tries to interrupt her one time, she goes boop with her hoof on his mouth, and I think that gives him the message like, yeah, zip it. It's not she's not doing it in a mean manner. She's just doing it in a very annoying manner. So it's basically along the lines of, yeah, Spike, knock it off. I can take it from here. So, and then in the end, they kind of both learn, or at least Starlight learns that, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have, discounted you, Apple, or AJ. I shouldn't have discounted you on the fact that you could probably keep a secret and all that. And then the final one, which was today, a lot of people, even Dr. Wolf, thought it was just going to be Starlight and Spike. And in a sense, it was. But one thing that went through my mind is, wouldn't it be something that, everybody's assuming it's Starlight and Spike, but wouldn't it be something if the final part was actually with the Royal Sisters? And lo and behold, when I saw the episode uploaded yesterday on one of the various Facebook group pages, when I saw it uploaded, I was like, they're in the Royal Castle. And then we see the Royal Sisters, and then it's like, oh my God, they're actually going to do it. That instead of just Starlight and Spike, which, we start off with Spike, then I think we go to Starlight, then the Royal Sisters. It was kind of cool to see that, because basically what the writers did in this last one is they realized, okay, Starlight and Spike, that's obvious, but we also need to include the Royal Sisters, especially Celestia, because they have been a big part of Twilight's life as well. And oh, by the way, Twilight's the one that they're passing the leadership on to. So it was actually kind of cool to see them included. Really cool. Now, I don't know what else. Now, they showed, for Luna, they showed clips from Luna Eclipsed and do Princess Dream of Sheep. For Starlight, of course, it was the season 7 premiere, the season 5 premiere, the season 5 finale. I think maybe a few things here and there. Spike obviously got a big spotlight because he's the closest to Twilight. He's been closest to Twilight than any of them, except for Celestia. Basically, from what I can tell, Spike and Celestia got the biggest spotlights when it came to memories in this episode. So that was kind of cool to see that. And then it does end with it being revealed that Twilight's actually looking through the book herself and reminiscing with everybody on the memories. So that, again, really cool to see. Really cool to see. And it was really nice that the final one ended with the inclusion of the royal sisters, which was nice. It was really nice. Um, so overall, I haven't yet watched them all yet. Like I said, I'm going to plan to find a way to download them and to put them on the DVD. But I love the fact that they did this. I love the idea that they did this, that they took the time and effort to do this. The writers, the actresses, the voice actresses came back and took the time to do this because you know what? Like I said, usually some shows will not, they won't even go this far. They'll just be like, okay, there's this little thing that they, that because again, some shows, animated or live action, they won't even touch upon something like a memory book or a scrapbook or whatever being given to somebody, Eddie. They'll just ignore it and be like, yeah, nobody will remember that. But yet here you have the staff saying, no, this is something that obviously is going to play a big role. So we're gonna run with it, and that's what they did, and I like that. I really do. I like the fact that they ran with it, and we'll just have to see what goes from there. Like I said, we'll just have to see where it goes from there. But I like the fact that they ran with it, They went with it. They went as far as they did with it. And according to what Dr. Wolf said, he basically feels like there was a moment in the last episode where it kind of is like a hint by the writers, by the creative staff, that they possibly wanted to do more, but obviously they can't. So at least the writers, I guess, do this, are acknowledging, yeah, we wanted to do more for you, but we just couldn't do it. But I guess that's all right in the end. Yeah, I don't know if they showed that point of view of the last problem. That's one thing Bugs they could have done, is shown that. But anyway, though, I thought Friendship is Forever was a great concept, and you know, it does kind of open the door to a lot of implication and interpretations, depending on how you look at things, on how characters speak of them. So it's a cool concept. I liked it. I really did. And if you haven't seen it, it's available at various Facebook group pages of MLP FIM, of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. It's available at various ones of them. I'm sure it's available through the YD disc as they call it, as well as it's available through other sites as well. So I would check it out there when you get a chance. All right, so number two. Let's talk about number two. Number two on the list here is Josh Scorcher. Is Josh Scorcher slash Firebrand's recent MLP music list video. Now, if you are a follower of Fob Equestria, which is one of Josh Scorcher's YouTube channel, his main MLP channel, Josh hasn't done a video for a while, and it's probably due to what's going on in the world, but it's also due to the fact that he's now married, he's got more responsibilities, and he probably wants to focus on how to keep himself and his wife Aramount safe and sound. So he hasn't really done any reviews yet. He's done a few things musical wise here and there. And the most recent video he did, though, I thought was pretty good. It's a top 15. It's kind of a top 15 kind of deal. Basically, the way the countdown works is he does like top three best songs and one worst song. That's how he does. It's like there's three best, one worst, three best, one worst, something like that. But what he also does before that is he lists off every song, just about every song all across MLP. Whether it's Friendship is Forever, Best Gift, Friendship is Magic, I should say, Best Gift Ever, the My Little Pony 2017 movie, the Equestria Girl movies and series. He lists them all. He basically tackles them all. And he does actually a good job. He really does. And at the end, what he does is he does basically like what seems to be like a top 15, if you will. Like he does three songs, like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, and then 10. And then I think that's how he rounds it out. I think that's how he rounds it out. And some of the choices he made, I did agree with. I liked. His number one pick when it came to the best of the songs in the entire series, I think a lot of people would agree was probably the best choice. I mean, I was hoping maybe Magic of Friendship Grows would be in the top 15 or in his top countdown, but it was mentioned sort of being like a number 7 out of 10. I mean, because what he did before getting into that top kind of deal of, here's three of the best, here's the worst, three of the best, the worst, whatever. Um, I think that's how he did it. I think that's how he did it. Yeah, that's how he did it. Uh, but basically, when he was ranking them before he did the list, he basically said that because Magic of Friendship Grows was the last song, period. And he said, even though it was, you know, catchy, it wasn't, the best, he still loved it because of its message. And it got a 7 out of 10. So I was surprised it wasn't in there, at least maybe in first three, the first three top songs that he mentioned. Like I said, I'm kind of surprised it wasn't. But it it's okay. I thought he did a good job. There's no doubt. But like I said, the top song that he chose, I don't think anybody would disagree with, which is "You're in My Head Like a Catchy Song." And I like that. I like the fact that he went down that route. I like the fact that he went down that route out, which was kind of cool. I like the fact that he went down that route out and everything. So, which was kind of cool. But the way he listed off, and I'm going to look at it real quickly here. I'm trying to see how he listed it off. The first song he did was. Okay, so. Okay, it was a number 15 deal. So he did like a, a top 5 worst and a top 15 best. So basically, like I said, the number one on his top 15 best was "You're in My Head Like a Catchy Song." And again, some people will not disagree with that. Some people will actually be cool with that because of the fact of, it's actually a song that he even said it himself. Josh even said it himself. You would not think would come. Like, yeah, well, okay, well, thank you for that information, Bugs. I'll look into it. But like I said, the top song in his top 15 best song list, like I said, "You're in My Head Like a Catchy Song." Like I said, Josh even said it himself. You would not think that this came from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, but it did. Just the way I mean, because you could mistake it as a romantic country song you would hear on the radio or hear on Spotify or Pandora or iTunes or wherever you listen to music, or iHeart, if you will. You can mistake it for something you would listen on those platforms or on your regular radio station because of the fact that when you listen to it, you don't identify it as something from MLP. You could just identify it as a romantic song that, even as Josh puts it, you could put it into your wedding playlist to be played at your wedding for a slow dance, which is pretty cool. The other song that he chose in his top 15, "A Kirin Tale," love that. There is no doubt that that was going to be in there. It had to be in there. Had to be in there. There's no doubt about it. The Smile song, I'm kind of surprised. I'm not surprised got in there as well because from what people have been saying, it's probably, and he even said it best here, it's probably the best thing you're going to get in a decent get. Um, it's probably one of the before the number one song came around. Smile song, no doubt, could have probably taken the spot if he'd done this way back then. But Smile song, I will agree, is probably the perfect emphasis and the perfect theme for a character like Pinkie Pie. So overall, Josh's list was actually pretty good. I mean, he, like I said, he went through all the songs with the rankings. Gave them the, I guess, in his opinion, the proper appropriate numbers and ranking that they deserved. And then the way he did his top 15, top five deal, top five worst, top 15 best, I thought was really good. I mean, the first of his top 15 is the spectacle, which is really nice. You have, following that, you have Hearts as Strong as Horses, which is the Cutie Mark Crusaders. That's kind of cool as well. So to see that play out, if you will, is really nice. And it does emphasize the CMCs. It does emphasize them. I'm trying to see. And then I think the other one he put at number 15 was the cheese sandwich song he did. And yeah, the goof off from Pinkie Pride is his other one he put in there. And then he put one in from the Summertime Short from Equestria Girls, which was Pinkie Pie's, I guess you can say, shipping anthem or shipping theme, which was kind of cool. That was unexpected. And then he puts in the song from Magical Mystery Cure, or Magic Mystery Cure, which is True True Friend. And it is a good song, there's no doubt. Like I said, it is a good song, there's no doubt. He puts in Starlight's Our Town anthem from the season 5 premiere, which was a good choice. I will probably give him that. He puts in Rarity's Art of the Dress song, and I will admit I haven't heard it before. People said it was probably the best you're going to get. It out of it's going to be. It's probably. Oh, and my finger hit the mic there again. It's probably one of the best solo songs in the series, especially with the fact that it ties in. It ties into the theme of the episode. You know. And then so the next so one of the other songs he puts in there, and I think it could have been listed higher. I think anybody would agree it should have been listed higher. As a matter of fact, let me see who he listed it at. Yeah. Okay, this was number 7 on his list. Yeah. The Day Awry. The Day Awry. That's what it is. I think that's what it's called. I will admit, I haven't heard the song, but from what people have said, and even Josh emphasizes this, it's the song that put MLP FIM on the map. Like if it wasn't on the map already, this did it. Because Josh, I think, said it best here, and I know I'm taking a while just to think about what I'm going to say because this is unscripted, and I'm watching Josh's thing while I'm doing this to kind of get a better idea, to kind of make sure I'm getting everything right here. But Josh said it best here. Josh basically says, "Look, this song basically is the one that put MLP FIM on the map because you have a song that's on par, if not above, a traditional Disney princess song or a song you would see in a Disney animated classic, just the way it was done. Just the fact that you had the singer, I think her name was Bridget, go from, this cocky, evil singing to this broken down, sad, tragic, trying to redeem, trying to, get back on the feet, eat version of Cadence. Like you have the evil Cadence, her transferring from that to the real Cadence, and it's like that is amazing. That's an amazing detail, and that is basically Disney 101. That's like straight out of a Disney playbook, if you know what I mean. He puts in Winter Wrap Up as another top song of his. Kieran Tail, of course, like I mentioned. Pinky's Present song from Heartwarming Tale, which is Christmas Carol song, was put on the top there. And then one of his top songs is number 3 best. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so his number 3 song was Under Our Spell by the Dazzlings. And he said it best. Nobody was ready for Adagio Dazzle. That is true, Josh. You are absolutely right about that. Because when I thought about this, because at times when I have a break at work or, there's not really much to do and I'm just cleaning up things here and there, I would think about, certain things that I would see on YouTube, like countdowns and stuff, and think, did they have a point, whatever. And when I thought about the countdown several times and basically how I would reply to it, like I'm doing now, uh, basically Josh is right. Nobody was ready for this. I mean, that line sticks in my mind a lot. Like nobody was ready for Adagio Dazzle or the Dazzlings. And just the way they were presented in Rainbow Rocks. I mean, everybody praises Rainbow Rocks as being the definitive Equestria Girls movie. Like, this is the movie that put Equestria Girls on the map. This is the movie that solidified Equestria Girls as being just as good as Friendship is Magic. Like, you could think of Equestria Girls being focused on, things that Friendship is Magic wouldn't be focused on. But after this movie, which included a perfect redemption, as people would put it, for Sunset, that it basically is on par for Friendship is Magic. Like again, yes, it tackles romance. It's more into the romance side of things for the characters. It doesn't shy away from that. It doesn't possibly shy away from LGBTQ relationships and stuff like that. You kind of get my point. It's more it tackles those issues more so than Friendship is Magic. But the one thing a lot of people have said about Rainbow Rocks, and I'm starting to see it for myself, especially with someone like Josh, aka Firebrand, putting this as his number 3 song on his list, is this is the movie, along with songs like this, that basically, just like Day Ra or Day Ra, in the Canterlot Wedding 2-parter in season 2, this is where Equestria Girls was put on the map and solidified as being on the same par as Friendship is Magic. And this is what got a lot of people's attention. This is what got a lot of detractors that didn't care for Equestria Girls, felt that they were nothing more than a sellout to compete with Monster High. And this is what got them to say, okay, maybe there is something more to this than we thought. Because this is where really you thought the first Equestria Girls kind of was tying in with Friendship with Magic, basically putting them in that same continuity where you still questioned it though. This here solidified the fact, or at least helped solidify the fact, that both are in the same continuity. Because it's later confirmed later on in season 7 in a flashback that this is all one continuity, just two different worlds. So, yeah, and then of course, like I said, his other top two songs after that were the Smile song and You're in My Heart Like a Catchy song. And I'm gonna say this, Josh, if you're watching, I don't know if you are, you did a tremendous job here. There's no doubt about it. I mean, yes, a lot of your colleagues do some tremendous jobs with these kind of countdowns. I'm not taking anything away from them. But you, my friend, did a tremendous job here. I mean, the fact that you went through all the songs and ranked them the way you did, and then basically took what you considered essentially the top 20 songs, the 5 bottom and the top 15 best, as in one list out of 180 something songs. That takes a lot of effort and dedication to do, and I have nothing but respect for you, Josh. And your choices throughout, I thought were great. Although there could have been more choices, I think if you would have expanded more, and this just with all due respect, Josh, if you would have expanded more, maybe do a top 25, like 5 worst, top 20 best, you could have included Magical Friendship Grows. You could have included Spike's version of True Gift of Giving. You could have included Flawless, in my opinion. You could have even included Celestia's Ballad at the end of Magic Mystery Tour or Magic Mystery Cure, or just before Twilight becomes an alicorn. So you could have done that, and I think it would have worked out. I think you keep the 5 worst that you've chosen, but then you add on those songs that I just mentioned along with your current top 15, and you could have had a great list, in my opinion. Well, you have a great list, is what I'm saying, but you could have had an even better list. Like you could have had one that even though it went a little longer, I think it would have been. It, I think people would have appreciated probably more so than they appreciate this one, which they do, if you would have added those songs, in my opinion. Again, it's just my opinion. It is early, so I do apologize if I sound like I'm stuttering, but I think if you would have added those songs, people would have appreciated it even more. Okay, so, and I do recommend go watch his countdown. It's called Go watch his video at Fabaquestia. It's called Every Friendship is Magic Song in 5 words or less. So go check it out. You'll really get a kick out of it. All right, so number 3 on this list. Should the 2017 MLP movie be one of the movies returned to theaters at a discounted price? And sorry, my thing hit the mic there. At a discounted price when they reopen to families, fans, etc. to return. Okay, so in case you guys don't know, there's been talk going around that when theaters reopen, probably starting around next month, if some have not opened up already, but mostly next month, there's been talk about theaters adding in movies that have already been there, that are now on home video, that are now on digital platforms, that are now on places like HBO, Showtime, Disney, Stars. There's been talk about putting these movies back into theaters at a discounted price to bring people back in so they can at least, even if it's the first, so they can at least, especially if it's the first time, experience that movie on the big screen as it was intended. There's talk of both taking both Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame and putting them in theaters almost back to back simultaneously. Let's talk about that, or on different screens anyway. Let's talk about that. There's talk about taking some of the Fast and Furious movies. There's talk about taking some of the Disney animated films and Pixar films and doing that. So here's my thought. If you want to get people back into the theaters, you should at least put movies in there that have been there before and proven to be a box office success, despite people's mixed feelings about it. And I think the MLP movie, the 2017 MLP movie, would be a perfect choice. I honestly think so. You don't have to keep it in there long. You don't you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to keep it in there long. Keep it in there for maybe a week or so or whatever, maybe even the weekend. But keep it in there for. I'll put it this way: keep it in there for a week, and then take it out, and then put something else in its place. But do it. But keep it in there long enough for, like I say, a week, maybe a weekend, maybe several days, so that families could go and enjoy something. Like if most of the movies are not appropriate for the kids, even if they're PG-13, take them taking them to a movie like this, I think, would help out. Because honestly, Disney's going to probably do the same thing with some of the movies. Pixar is going to do this. They're going to do the same thing with the Pixar films. So I think honestly, Hasbro and Lionsgate and Toon Boom and DHX and Allspark Animation, Allspark Pictures, I think honestly they should do the same thing with the MLP movie. It proved to be a box office success. It made its money back. Um, if not more, it actually made more than its money back, nationwide and worldwide. So it did pretty good. So I would suggest putting the MLP movie as one of the movies. So I would suggest, what I'm trying to say is I would I would suggest putting the MLP movie back in theaters at least for a week, so that those that didn't get to experience it on the big screen, like people like I did, like folks like I did, or folks like me did, I should say. For those that didn't get to experience it on the big screen, I think honestly this would be a unique opportunity. Yes, it's the summer, and you probably have a more of a crowd to go see it, along with the other movies being proposed for theatrical re-release, just to get people back into theaters. Because here's the thing about the theatrical re-releases: that if they go through with it, they're not going to be there long. They're only going to be there a week, maybe two, at the most. It's going to be basically they're going to be there long enough. They're going to be there long enough to get people to come into the theaters, at a discounted price, which would probably be like half of what you pay for a regular movie ticket. Get them to come back in, sit down, enjoy a movie, and then after it's all said and done, go home and probably, talk about their experience seeing the movie on the big screen, maybe for the first time or maybe for the second or third time. So I think honestly, to answer the question here of should the MLP movie of 2017 be one of the movies returned to theaters at a discounted price when they reopened to families, fans, etc., to return to, I think honestly, yes. I think it would be a perfect choice. Again, you don't have to keep it in there as long as, let's say, Avengers Endgame or Avengers Infinity War, but just long enough to where if those kind of movies are not appropriate, for families to see together, then take them. Then something like the MLP movie would be a perfect choice, in my opinion. You know, and for fans that didn't get to see it in theaters on the big screen, it would actually be a unique opportunity to finally see it on the big screen, even if they own it on Blu-ray, 4K, or whatever, or digitally. It'd still be a unique experience to see it on the big screen. Because I'll tell you this: if they go through with this idea to re-release movies onto the big screen, and one of the movies they decide to go with is Avengers Endgame, you can bet your bottom dollar I'll do what I can to go see it, even if it's at a discounted price, because even though I have the movie, I would like to see it for the first time on the big screen to get that experience everybody says that you can only get there. So honestly, again, I think but honestly, again, in my opinion, I think they should. I think they should put the MLP movie back in theaters as one of the movies that's going to draw people back in at that discounted price, even if it's for a limited time. So honestly, I think they should do that. My opinion, just my opinion on that. Okay, so number four here. Um, why was shipping heavily? Okay, number four. Why was shipping heavily implied, if not confirmed, in the finale, The Last Problem? Okay, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. Just cracked my elbow there. I'll pop my elbow. Okay, so here's the deal. Um, when the rest of the main six, or main seven, if you will, were revealed towards the third act of the episode, a lot of things were brought up. A lot of questions, inquiries, and all that were brought up. And there was a lot of in, implications or implications, if you will, implications and interpretations of, wait a minute, did did this happen? Did they get together? What's going on? And the reason this was brought up, or was, currently was being asked by fans even to this day, is when we see the reveal of the rest of the main seven, the first character we see is Pinky. And one of the first things she says is, not only is she sorry for being late, but she says she's late because it's hard to get a sitter with a sense of humor for a little cheese. And you see this little yellow pony with pink hair bounce in, and it's revealed, oh my God, Pinky is a mom, and she got together with Cheese Sandwich. She got married to him, basically. So that's what really surprised people, because the one thing that the writers have said in the past, or at least I think when Megan was running things, is you wouldn't see much shipping at all with the main characters. Like the main characters, the main six, main seven, main eight, were off limits. Everybody else was fair game. But when we see Pinky come in and say the line she does, and then we see her kids show up, it's like all that's just tossed out the window. And then if it's not that, later on we see, after Rarity shows up, and we'll get into Rarity in a moment, we see Rainbow Dash and Applejack arrive simultaneously, and Rainbow Dash telling Applejack, maybe we'd get to places a lot sooner if you let me help do the chores instead of doing them all by yourself. And Applejack's like, well, I would if maybe you do them the right way. And everybody's reaction, even those that bronies react, that I even mentioned in my video I did on that, everybody reacted in the same way I think anybody would. That basically it's implied, if not interpreted, that Applejack and Rainbow are an LGBTQ couple now. They're basically together. Like their friendly competitive rivalry blossomed into LOVE, if you know what I mean. And just the way that, Rainbow's got her hair slicked back in the style of Spitfires, kind of gives the clue that, yeah, something happened. Like there's something going on between the two. And then if you look at the thumbnail here and you see, Rainbow's hoof on Applejack's hat, it's, and then just the way they stare at each other even before that, it's does kind of imply, if not interpretate, that yeah, they're together. They're an item now. And then of course you get Fluttershy showing up via Discord's portal from Discord's dimension, with Discord giving her like a bag lunch to, to have to kind of eat while she's with her friends or share with her friends. And that's kind of implying, if not interpreting, they're together. And then when you get into the Magic of Friendship song, you kind of see a moment when they arrive in Ponyville, and you see one of the first group shots of them there. Rarity's right next to Spike. She's looking straight up at him. And then when they walk off, before Pinky does her solo part in the song, you see Pinky walking off with a kid, with Luster Dawn. Rarity's walking off with them, and so is Spike. And Spike's walking off right next to Rarity. So it's like, okay, what's going on here? And then, of course, again, you look at the thumbnail here and you see that Spike's right next to Rarity. And it seems that through a majority of the rest of the song, with a few exceptions, Rarity was always next to Spike and vice versa. So it kind of maybe implied, like I said earlier, with Friendship is Forever, in the eyes of many fans, that something happened between Spike and Rarity that pretty much put them together. So yeah, again, though, getting back to the questionable topic is, why was shipping heavily implied if not confirmed in the finale? And I think it's because, mainly for those that I just mentioned, I think because it's the finale, it's I think, in my opinion, it's a tradition for the creative team, whether it's a live action series or mostly an animated series, to basically, say, look, we're not going to be doing anything new after this, except maybe the clip show, the Friendship is Forever thing, which is a clip show, whatever, clip show kind of deal, miniseries. They probably decided that since this is the real last thing they're going to do, they might as well go all out and say, you know what? Nothing's off limits now. It's like when you get to the finale of something, nothing's off limits. Just do what you want to do. If you want to give the fans fan service, give them fan service. And that's obviously what they did. They gave the fans what they wanted to see. They pretty much figured, you know what? Nothing's off limits anymore, not even the main seven, so we're going to go with it. We're going to go and give the fans what they expect. And we're going to not confirm, but we're going to maybe imply and interpretate, or we're going to imply, which will allow them to interpretate perhaps something going on. And that's why you had the moment. That's why you had Rainbow and Applejack arrive the way they did. That's why you had it pretty much confirmed when she showed up that Pinky's now with Cheese Sandwich because they have a kid. That's why it was kind of implied, if not interpreted, that Fluttershy and Discord are together. And even during the montage when they arrive in Ponyville, like I said, with the moments, the group shots, and all that, it's kind of indicated, if not implied, if not interpreted, that something's going on with Rarity and Spike. And if you want any further evidence, like I said, you go and look at the first episode of Friendship is Forever, called Addressing Memories, and you kind of get a good idea that maybe something is going on there besides just friendship. So that's why I think shipping was heavily implied, if not confirmed in the finale, for the fact it was the finale. It's basically nothing's going to be done after this, nothing new, except for, like I said, the Friendship is Forever 6-part mid-epilogue miniseries clip show. Nothing else is going to happen. So why not just go all out and basically finally just let loose and basically confirm that nothing's off limits anymore, because nothing's going to happen after this. So that's why I think shipping was heavily implied, if not confirmed. I mean, even when they go to the School of Friendship, it's implied, if not interpreted, that Starlight and Sunburst finally got together. It's implied, if not interpreted, that the only members of the Young Six/Student Six that are there, that are hanging out with each other and possibly are LGBTQ with each other, is Ocellus and Smolder. Well, we also see Silverstream there as well, but she comes out of the pond, or the moat, if you will, so we don't know what's going on there with her. But like I said, but there is an image floating around that kind of probably indicates she's with Gallus. Who knows? But anyway, we get that, and then of course we get Sambar and Yona, which is pretty much continuing what is an official romance that started in high school or in school and has blossomed. So you got all these interpretations and all these implications, if you will, of shipping that has happened. And again, like I said, I know I'm repeating myself here, but it's basically the reason it was done was basically because of the fact that they wanted to, give the fans what they wanted. That's what they wanted to do. Pretty much this was fan service. And you could like that, you can disagree with that. It's like you can agree with that, you could disagree with that. But that's essentially what it was. It was fan service, and it was good fan service because they knew what the fans were expecting to see. They weren't holding anything back. They knew what the fans wanted to see, and they gave it to them. So, in my opinion, that's why shipping was heavily implied, if not confirmed. It wasn't just something they wanted to do, but because it was the final episode period of the entire series, they decided to basically make everything they basically decided to make everything off limits. They basically said nothing's off limits anymore, so we're gonna go all the way. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And that's what they did. So that's why shipping, in my opinion, was heavily implied, if not confirmed, because it was the finale, and they just decided nothing's off limits anymore, and we're going to give the fans what they've been wanting to see. In fact, maybe even what they wanted to see. And that's why I think shipping was heavily implied, if not confirmed, in the finale. All right, so number 5. What can we expect from MLP G5 when that occurs? Now, we don't know when it's going to occur. It may occur after the movie next year. It may occur before then. Who knows? But right now, nobody knows what to expect. We've been seeing, as we've discussed before, various different designs of what the characters would look like. Some designs that we've been seeing more often than others seem to be the more officialized interpretation of what the main 6 are going to look like in the new version. But we're not totally sure yet. We're not totally sure. I mean, they could be working as we speak because of what's going on. They could all be at home working individually on what will be the final design. So we'll have. So it's a wait. It's a game of wait and see. But what can we expect from G5? Well, it's a good question. But I'm going to say that what people have been rumoring it to be is it's going to be a show that's aimed at an older audience, not like an older adult audience, but older kid audience, like a tween audience, as they call them. I'm looking at it being something like that. So when I think so, when I say I expect it to be aimed at more of a tween audience, I'm looking at a show that's going to be a little darker than this one. It's going to be a little bit more, of course, a little bit being aimed at tweens. It's going to be, excuse me, it's going to be a little bit more mature um, in some areas and with some subjects that they discuss. I expect we'll get a little bit more action, along with more. I expect we'll get a lot more action and adventure. I would say think along the lines of Twilight's battle with Turek and the final confrontation in the ending of the end combined. Expect that as sort of like I would say an idea of what the action and adventure will be in G5. I expect romance to finally be tackled. I don't think the main 6, main 7, if Spike becomes part of the team, I don't think nothing's going to be off limits when it comes to romance with them. I think they're going to actually go and put them in relationships, maybe even within the group. I expect that to happen because if it's aimed at an older audience, a tween audience, if you will, like TV Y7 and up, um, I expect that to be a part of it. Um, what else? I expect maybe some of the seasons to be more episodic than what we had here. I mean, we had some episodic seasons, especially towards the end, but when I'm talking episodic, I'm talking more like it's just the season's just one big story. It's like the season's multiple parts, multiple chapters. If each season's going to run 26 episodes, I would expect maybe every episode to be a 3 to 4 parter is what I'm looking at. That's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting possibly 3 to 4 parters, maybe even a 5-parter here and there to even things out. But that's what I'm expecting for each season. If it goes beyond its first season and gets multiple seasons afterwards, I expect every season to be episodic with, you know, every with every story being 4 to 5 parts at least. 3 at the less, 3 being the lesser number, 5 at the most. That's what I would expect MLP G5's seasonal run to be episodically, like basically be like chapters, if you will. Like here's like for example, it's New Generation Chapter 1, and then here's the title under it, A Generation is Born, or something like that. So that's what I expect. I expect basically a 26 episode season to be divided, to have its episodes, kind of put together in arcs, like 4 to 5 part arcs to culminate the entire season. at the end. So that's what I expect probably G5 to do as well, if it's going to be aimed, like I said, at that older audience. Um, Now, is there anything else I expect out of it? Well, if they're going to carry anything over from G4, Friendship is Magic, if there's anything I want them to carry over, it's some of the characteristics. They got to carry them over. They got to carry over Fluttershy's kindness, Pinkie Pie's laughter, Rainbow's tomboyishness, Applejack's hard work, determination, Rarity's generosity and feminist feminality, if you will. Easy for me to say, feminality and fashion, Nista and fashion sense. They got to carry that over. Twilight and her love for books and studying, got to carry that over. And if you're going to bring Spike into the equation, you got to bring a lot of his mannerisms in, but you also got to make him look a lot bigger. I'm going to put it that I'll say that about Spike. You got to make him look a little bigger. I mean, take what you gave us in Last Problem and kind of make that halfway, kind of meet it halfway. Meet it halfway. So that way, if you want to carry another thing over from Generation 4 with Friendship is Magic, which is Spike's attraction, crush, affection for Rarity, it would be more believable if he's just a little bit taller in the eyes of a lot of fans. Because the one thing I noticed is when they saw the adult version of him, it's like a lot of the detractors at first, a lot of the detractors of the Disparity ship were now suddenly coming on board because it's like, okay, now this is more appropriate. So I think if you meet them halfway and kind of make Spike and kind of give Spike the design that's kind of like a halfway version of, or kind of it's kind of halfway to what we see in Last Problem, I think it would be more believable and more acceptable by fans if you want to carry over the Disparity ship into G5. And my finger at the mic there, I do apologize. But overall, yeah, Taylor Strong, I will admit, Bugs, Taylor Strong said Twilight may not be in G5, but that's only because she's not going to voice her. It doesn't mean Twilight is not going to be in G5. It just means if Twilight's in it, she's going to be voiced by another actress. And that's the other thing. Just because, just because a voice actress of a character says that they won't be that character won't be there, that means it's their version of the character that won't be there. It doesn't mean the character themselves won't be there. The character will be there, but voiced by somebody else. But so that's pretty much, I think, what Taylor Strong was getting at. But anyway, long story short, and I got to get myself ready for work in a minute. Basically, when I look at what we could probably get from G5, everything I just mentioned, I think is a strong possibility, especially if it's aimed at an older audience. But I can also expect more lore to be explored, like more background on the history of the worlds, because apparently they're supposed to be divided into different worlds. If they're still going to go with that, which are all connected to this big version of the Tree of Harmony. So that's going to be interesting if they still decide to go with that. But I expect more lore to be explored, and whoever they choose out of the main 7 to be like the Twilight of the group, to be the Twilight of the series, to be the one that's going to be the chosen one to bring all the races together into one kingdom or whatever. Whoever they choose, it's going to be an interesting. I'll be really curious as to the journey they're going to have that character go on. I mean, right now it sounds like the leading candidate could be Fluttershy, or that version of Fluttershy. But something tells me it's either going to be. It might be. Something tells me it's going to be. This is what I look at. Rumor is that the leading candidate to be the Twilight Sparkle of G5 is Fluttershy, the unicorn version of her. But something's telling me that they're either going to go with Applejack or Twilight, who are both going to be Earth ponies. Applejack, of course, being an Earth pony right off the bat, but also Twilight being now an Earth pony. I think it's going to be either one of them if they don't go with Fluttershy. So I think that's probably what's going to happen in the future. So I think that's possibly the two characters that would. So to me, I think those out of those three, I think the most logical ones, if not the most likely ones, are the Earth Pony version of Twilight or the G5 version of Applejack as being the Twilight Sparkle of this interpretation of My Little Pony. But yeah, I do expect everything that I just mentioned to occur. I expect a lot of the characters that became fan favorites to return and even have more significant roles than they did in G4. I expect Sunset, if she's going to show up in this version, I expect her to show up. But here's what I expect. I expect the Equestria Girls G4 version of Sunset to show up in pony form. I expect her to show up in sort of like a crossover miniseries to where she's going through the portal, the mirror portal, but something malfunctions and she ends up in this version of My Little Pony, and thus you kind of connect both series together. It's sort of like having some kind of continuity to each other, but not really, like a loose continuity. But I expect her to show up, and then maybe after she shows up, then we see the G5 version of Sunset show up later on. So I expect her to show up. Again, I expect characters that we became fan favorites to have more time, to give them more screen time, like Moon Dancer, Octavia, Vinyl, Lyra, Bonbon. I expect them all to get more opportunities down the line um, in G5, in my opinion. But yeah, that's what I believe we can expect from MLP G5, in my opinion, from what I can see. But anyway, though, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for now. I got to get myself in the shower, get myself ready for work. But thank you all for joining me live in the live chat. Thank you all. Comment down below in the comment section. Give me your thoughts on some of the topics I mentioned here. And that's all I'm going to say, guys. So have a safe and happy Memorial Day, however you're celebrating it during this time I'm in our world. But again, thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. Comment down below. Thank you all for joining me in the live chat. And I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. I got to get ready for work.